Hey everybody, this is Ray Money, and I'm here to talk to you about green flags to look for. Yes, I'm tired of hearing about people talking about red flags, and for almost about 10 years, that's been a toxic, in my opinion, buzz phrase. Not buzzword, buzz phrase. I know you probably never heard that one before. Because it's good to identify what is bad and what could be using foresight, potentially harmful about a person when interacting with them when it comes to forming a relationship. But why don't we also look at the pros? Because a lot of folks do come with that. So instead of just navigating the negatives, let's weed out that and see the actual good things that a person might bring. And also a way that could help decompress whatever bad shit they have with them. I didn't use the word decompress right. Basically, reduce that because I do feel that people can change from that. So, from the article that I read a week ago, it was from CBS News. Six green flags to look for in a partner, according to relationship experts. And the first one they said was reliability. And an example they used was when it comes to showing up or canceling last minute, maybe a red flag. Doing the opposite is a green flag. And I do agree with that. If you're not dependable on for any task that a partner or a person that you interact with needs, then how can they build trust with you? I think as human beings, we forget that we have to put trust into folks in order for them to, in fact, trust us and vice versa. There's a lot of relationships I've had with people where family, friendships, platonic, that I started really reconsidering and looking back and thinking, huh, they have all these positive things about me probably in their head, but do they ever think and realize, oh, do I truly have that for them? That's something that I think a lot of folks got to be really conscious about because the way that you might think about somebody else, they might completely think the opposite about you. I had to tell my coworker yesterday that I kind of had to forgive the way that she used to think of me because it was very biased and judge a book by its cover versus trying to understand the substance of me as a person. And I'm a very over analytical person, so I don't just like to make judgment very rash and abruptly, unless the person's just too transparent. And as I posted on my IG, if anybody wants to follow me on IG, is Ray Money 1997. The post is still up where I had a friend of over 17 years. I really tried because we have a lot of connections with family and friends where he threatened to to unalive me and all this other crap when I've helped. And I've been threatened multiple times before. Don't get it twisted, but it's just like this one was really the worst because I'm good friends with the family and other friend groups, and that just mm-mm. If it was somebody else, that could have been situated a lot differently. But this one's more complicated. And start for a little side tangent. The second point is trustworthiness. As as they share information about themselves, you want to see if they're consistent in their stories. And that's another thing that I really do look into. Because for me, I don't like to be an open book. I can be transparent, but I'll give you parts of the story, but I won't finish the blanks. But you can't say that's lying. The reason why I do that is because I think that you have to really vet the person you're talking to make sure they're not just gonna just say everything about you. I don't like telling people where I work because where I work, a lot of folks will have negative connotations about it. Not that it's anything adult related, but it's in the healthcare field. I won't say what particular healthcare field it is, but a lot of folks have a lot of negative perspectives on that, and I get it. I had one friend that platonically that we talked about. I told her, and then she mentioned on the app. She's like, "Oh, you work in this field. You should understand, Ray." And it's like, bro, why you gotta put me on the spot like that? That's not cool. Like, are you goofy? But we're both 27. Fun fact: if anybody gets psychology, the four lobes, the front, one of them, the frontal lobe, the main one, that's a processing unit for how our personality is actually formed. and how we retain information and all the other bullshit, if you don't want me to get that intricate about, it stops forming at 25 to 27. So even though I did say earlier that people can change, it's going to be a lot harder after those ages occur. Just as a little side note. And hopefully you like the background music. It's a good chill rap right now. The third one is values relationships. Having and valuing relationships outside of a romantic partner, like friends and family, is another green flag. And to give credit to the relationship analyst or expert is Frankie Bashan, also known as Dr. Frankie, a clinical psychologist. He's a board certified sex therapist, founder of Little Gay Book, and relationship expert with over 20 years of experience. Oh, okay. That's good to know. But yeah, to go off the third point, values relationships. Having and valuing relationships outside of a romantic partner, I think, is important because I've seen so many guys, not trying to get on my guy friends, but they have just literally went bonkers, just going straight for females, even if you hook them up or not. And they detach themselves from what's also important too. I know in this life it's hard to make time for as many things as possible, but I think compartmentalization is necessary to try to learn and master. It's not easy, especially in this economy and amount of time that jobs are not giving people to actively divest their time and energy to, but you can't just overload one aspect of yourself to one being and then wonder why folks are getting mad at you. And I'm a 27-year-old male that's never been in a relationship. So I've tried dating, it hasn't worked. So maybe I need to be in a relationship to also understand that point of view. But from what I've seen, I wouldn't want to emulate that at all. The fourth reason is reciprocity. Someone who's not afraid to let you know that they're interested in another green flag. When you're sharing about yourself, your interests, your desires for relationships, what are you looking for? Are they listening? They're not just waiting for you to finish so they can give a response. And that's how I know if somebody really likes me, that they actually care. And I know that sounds corny as a guy to say, but if they care and they're asking more questions. Probably only had one female, and that was recently, that asked me, "Oh, what kind of music do you actually like listening to?" Like she was actually asking questions, and it kind of threw me off. I'm so used to folks throwing questions at me. So, guys, if you find somebody that actually cares to ask you questions about your interests and they're actually deeply engaged, that's a good thing. Don't take that for granted. They're actually attentive and they're curious about you. That's a really good thing. The fifth is boundaries. Oof, that's going to touch a lot of people. Being able to set and respect boundaries is another green flag. There's been some talk on social media, as the expert said. There's been some talk on social media about people who trauma dump on dates. Yeah, people trauma dump a lot. They think they're being open, authentic, and vulnerable, but what they're really doing is disclosing too much too soon. Yeah, I have a lot of female friends and just friends in general that trauma dump, and they wonder why their relationships don't work. Also, I want to say this as a Gen Zer, unfortunately being a Gen Z, that the way that we communicate is so piss poor. It's so horrible. I'm a fast responder, but I'm not a texter. So I'll respond to you like that. But then if I'm working or whatever, or going to the gym, doing my hobbies, I'm going to not take as, how I say, I'm not going to be as quick as I would to respond. And I remember I was on a 2, 3 hour conversation with this chick, and literally under 24 hours, she's like, "Oh, where you been?" Like, and I'm like, just busy." And she's like, "Oh, I just haven't heard from you in a long time. That I thought something happened, or I kind of scared." Basically, she's trying to say she kind of thought she scared me off. And from that moment, I really should have thought that, okay, so she has, not bad boundaries, but she definitely wants to keep that attention and that communication 24/7 on her time. Because when I would hit her, 3 days later she would just kind of just get a little annoyed, and then I had to tell her, hey, I just responded to what you said. I don't need a quick response. And then she's like, oh, my bad. I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I need to set a boundary and tell her, like, hey, if I leave you on red or whatever, I'm not mad at you. But if I leave you on red, don't just immediately follow up with a question mark or like, spam call me, you know? And I know as a guy and women, we communicate differently, but, you know, and a little flex is nice to have that, but because you don't want to be a guy that's clingy, trying to like just talk to everybody. But I'm a busy dude. I just released a new book, so I've been telling a lot of folks like, hey, I'm off today and tomorrow. I'm free to talk to. If you have any questions, hit me. I'm pretty free. Just clean the house. But I think another thing is just to make sure you just start from the gate. That's what I'm trying to say with this story. If I just said that in the beginning, that probably would have been a lot better. That's what I think. And the last green flag to look for is balance and dependence. So a relationship is about growing together and independently. That is the best statement I've heard about relationships because I do see that a lot of folks are dependent, codependent, and independent. Those are three different categories that a lot of folks fit into regarding in work, in social, places when it comes to sports, health, family dynamics, you name it, friendships. I'm an independent person by nature, so that works for me. But a lot of my friends are dependent. I'm usually the driver of the group. I've been doing that since I was about 20 years old, at least. And I'm usually the planner. And I like planning things, honestly. It's great. you know, I like having that responsibility on me in case things go awry. And I used to pay for things too, which I don't do anymore. I budget now. That's no. In this economy, no. But my point of saying that is, I also try to help my friends grow and tell them how they can improve in case, hey, one day I might not always be here, or your family might not always be here. You gotta be able to do some of this stuff yourself. Because I remember a few years ago when I was finishing up undergrad, that one of my customers, their parents died, and they didn't really know what to do. And they're in their 30s, didn't know how to really do simple stuff. And it kind of worried me. I'm like, man, my parents, I would never be in that position with how my parents raised me. I live with my parents, by the way, ever since, I came back from COVID, from college. I did have my own apartment while I was in college, so I had my independence. So I know how to know what rental insurance is and everything. So I know how to live by myself and take care of myself. I was working while at college too. I worked in the summers. It's for me, being by myself is okay, but I gotta have somebody that can also be able to be by themselves. And I see a lot of relationships with my friends where, the female, they want them to be by their hip damn near 24/7, just there. And I've done a lot of studies. I read a lot of studies. Not done a lot of studies. If I did, that'd be dope. Where I read that a lot of partners, they just want somebody to just be there, just to have that reassurance. But yeah, that's the truth. But yeah, that's it. Balance of dependence. That's what relationships are, and that's all I got. I hope everybody took from this and heard my examples of how it is for me dealing with some of the stuff that I've seen. But hopefully, you can point out the flaws and what you see from these green flags and try to implement them in a better way. All right, take care.